Hi, everyone. My name is Nyemade Boiwu, and I am a social media ambassador with the ACLU Delaware, and I'm so excited. With me, I have Mike Brickner, who is the current executive director of the ACLU Delaware. Hi, Mike.
Hey, I am so hyped to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm excited because this is actually the first real announcement about this. Do you want to tell everyone why we're getting together to chat?
Oh my gosh, it's my most favorite time of the year because every year, I think for the last 35 or so years, we've had our annual Kandler Awards Celebration. So the Kandler Awards are named after our very first president of our board here at the ACLU of Delaware. And every year we recognize a few really outstanding Delawareans who have made a big contribution to civil liberties. So we get together, we celebrate them, and we look forward to the next year and all that we're going to accomplish here in Delaware.
Yes, and this year is my first year co-hosting, so I'm so excited. But you are a pro. You've been doing it for 3 years now, right?
Yeah, although this is my first year in person, with the pandemic, the last 2 years I've been virtual. So hopefully, my personality translates to in person, but at least I have you to support me because you are a pro at all of this.
I mean, I'm a virtual pro, but we'll be in it together, and I think we got this. I think we got it.
I mean, we can construct our own little Zoom boxes if we wanted. We could just stand on stage with them. That might make us feel a little bit more comfortable.
You know what? Don't tempt me with a good time because that sounds like I'd be in my element. So this year the awards are on Wednesday, October 19th, at the is it pronounced Hockessin?
Hockessin.
Hockessin. Can you tell I'm not from around here? I'm still learning all the pronunciations of everything.
Yeah, well, and every place is different. I'm originally from Ohio, and we would always say Newark, and here I learned, nope, it's Newark. So
that was the first lesson I got real quick when I said it wrong. And so is that in Dover?
No, it's actually out in Hockessin, which is a little north and east of Wilmington. So we're out at Hockessin Memorial Hall. And then for folks that might be in the southern part of the state, we also have a celebration at Sydney's in Milton. So if you're in the Sussex or Dover area, you could go down to Sydney's, and it's a great place. It's a jazz bar, and they have soul food, and it sounds like a good time. But we're gonna have a good time at Hockessin too.
Yeah, I think so. And this year we are honoring two community members. We're honoring Corie Priest and Rebecca Lowe. Do you want to tell us a little bit about them? I know the general, but you probably have more info.
Yeah, so I am really excited about both of these honorees. They are two folks who have accomplished a lot, but I would sort of describe them as also folks who have done a lot of work behind the scenes too, and don't always get the recognition that they deserve, which is another reason I love these awards, because we try and pick people who maybe haven't been feted out there in the community before and haven't really gotten their due. So Corie, he actually works for the Delaware Department of Justice right now, and he does community engagement. But a lot of folks in Delaware might know him. He had past contact with the justice system here in Delaware, and he, got his, life back on track. He rehabilitated, and he had to seek to get his record expunged. And he sort of became the public face for Delaware implementing its very first expungement law, which was, a huge deal a few years ago. And so then Corie has been advocating for, clean slates and fair chances since then. So he's done some really amazing work.
Which is awesome, because that's an area that the ACLU works in as well.
That's right. I mean, we have our whole Clean Slate initiative, which we, helped to get passed 2 bills last year, one that expands the number of people who are going to be eligible for record clearance, but then it also makes the process automatic. And that's even more exciting because there are a lot of people who are actually eligible to get their record cleared, but you have to go through kind of a long and frankly, expensive process to be able to get your record cleared. So now with this new law, once it's implemented, as long as people stay out of the justice system and they rehabilitate, many of those folks are going to be able to have an automatic record clearance. They don't have to do anything other than, rehabilitate their lives.
Which is amazing, because that's the purpose of the justice system. It's not just to punish, but to help rehabilitate. So it's amazing that there's opportunities for people to have that happen, and that we have stories like Corie's where you actually see it happening.
Exactly. And, I love the clean slate work because you really do see the impact on people's lives every day, because, you want to make sure that, one bad decision doesn't become a lifetime sentence. And for many folks, those convictions follow them around when they're trying to get a job, or they're trying to get maybe student loans, or to get into a school, or they're trying to get housing. And so every single door is sort of, closed to them. And that just makes it then harder for them to successfully re-enter and stay on a good rehabilitative path. Because if you don't have opportunities, oftentimes, you might get desperate, you end up in a cycle of poverty, and you end up back in the justice system. So this is really about lifting people up and giving them their best opportunity. So it's really wonderful to see the difference it makes in those people's lives. And again, a lot of it really goes back to credit to Corie, because again, he was just such a public face for getting the expungement laws in Delaware in the first place. And now with this clean slate initiative and the bills we passed, then we've really modernized and made that process even more effective.
That's awesome. I love it. I love hearing people get second chances, especially, I mentioned earlier, I'm the social media ambassador. I came on with the voting. And so that's an area as well that people are talking about, people with records, if they're able to vote, if they're not able to vote. So, they're still citizens, and they still should have the opportunity to have a say in things. So the more that we do opportunities like that, because I think we do live in a world very, very much here criminal, here someone has a record, and like toss them to the side mentally, right? And so I love that the ACLU is like, nope, they're still human. We're still going to remind you that they're human. We're still going to work to make sure that they have those same rights, which is awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I have to say, I'm also equally as excited about our other nominee, Rebecca Lowe. Rebecca is based down in Sussex County, and she is, just a behind the scenes workhorse. She does so much out there in the community. First of all, in her full-time job, she works for the Lewes Public Library, and there she really makes sure that there's a lot of different types of events at the library, that there's strong community discussions about issues that are, really pertinent and relevant to our world. And so, I think librarians are kind of like secret superheroes. So I really admire that about Rebecca. But I know her even better because she was one of the founders of Women's March Sussex, which has been doing a ton of work around reproductive rights here in the state of Delaware. And, with everything that's happened this year, certainly that issue is more important than ever. And Women's March Sussex has really been at the forefront, advocating for more access and better laws around reproductive freedom. They've also been really instrumental in helping to push back some bad things here in Delaware. I don't know if folks remember, but late last year, the city of Seaford passed an anti-abortion ordinance, and Women's March Sussex and Rebecca were really at the forefront advocating against that. Luckily, the Attorney General ended up suing the city of Seaford and knocking that ordinance down. But a lot of credit goes to Rebecca and all of her allies at Women's March Sussex fighting back against that here in Delaware.
Yeah, I mean, the work Rebecca and her team has done is amazing. And I think, you hear, oh, Women's March. And a lot of times when people hear and think about protests, they think about marching in the streets and that's it. And it's like, well, what does that do? But what they don't realize is that a lot of times you have organizers and founders, people like Rebecca, who then take the initiative and take the excitement from other people for the cause and use it to further work on it. It's not just we marched and we're done. It's like, well, now what can we do? What are the steps to take it past that? And she's done a great job with the Women's March Sussex of continuing to carry on the work past just marching.
Yeah. And, speaking of that too, Rebecca and I work really closely together. We're both on the board of the First State Abortion Fund, which started right after the Dobbs decision came down. It's the first abortion fund we've had here in the state of Delaware. And really, it's about helping to meet the need that we see now that Delaware is one of a handful of states that has abortion rights protected. We want to make sure that people still have access, and finances are still one of the major barriers that many people just don't have. On average, an abortion costs $500. Many people don't have $500 to pay for their abortion. And so we want to make sure we can help to bridge any gaps in that funding for people in Delaware, but also people who might be traveling from out of state. And, I can just say in the short time that we've been in operation, Rebecca has done a ton of work to get volunteers to help to build the infrastructure of the organization. And I've seen it really pay off. We've had a couple of people that we've assisted with the abortion fund who had some extenuating circumstances, where they had issues with their life or their health, and their abortions actually ended up costing much more than $500. And because of all the work that Rebecca was able to do, we were able to make sure that that person was able to get care, even though they were hit with a much larger bill than what they thought that they were going to be.
Mm-hmm. And that's amazing. I love all of that work because, like you mentioned, it's so needed. And unfortunately, finances are a major barrier for people for a lot of things. And as we're headed to apparently a little bit of a recession, it's even more important where people are trying to watch their money and save, which is one of the other great things about Rebecca's day job at the library is that the library is still such a great free resource to so many people. It's access to computers, it's access to rooms for classes. They often will have different classes and workshops and things that they offer. So I love seeing a librarian get a little bit of a spotlight because I don't think that they get enough of that for what they really bring to a community.
Me too. I mean, libraries are just, the place where you can get so much great information. And Rebecca's also, living in the times, and that, we said everything now is virtual. And so she really makes sure, almost every program that they have at the Lewes Public Library is also streamed virtually. So like even though I live in Wilmington, I attend a lot of events at the Lewes Public Library because they're so good about making sure that there's that access. And so, it's been a great resource for people in Lewes, but also for people throughout the state who want to check out all the great programming at the public library.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to meet both of the guests that we are honoring. They've done such great things. I can't wait for the awards ceremony. And you mentioned, the great thing about the library is that they have things that are hybrid, and this award ceremony will be hybrid. So for those of you who aren't able to make it in person, we do have a hybrid option. So that will be fantastic.
That's right. Yeah, I think it's one of the really great things that happened with COVID is we kind of had to force ourselves to start doing hybrid. And it's a great thing. Like in the past couple of years with Kandler, we've had people from out of state who've attended, or people who might be in like Dover or Georgetown, or somewhere that's a little bit further away from those in-person events. And so, like, if you're looking and saying, "Yeah, I'm not sure I can get out to Hockessin, or I can't get to Milton that evening," you can still participate virtually and see the awards ceremony. You can still cheer on our honorees and be a part of the fun. So I'm excited about that. I love having both of those options.
Yes, me too. I can't wait. Thank you so much, Mike, for taking the time to chat with me. I am excited about co-hosting with you. I think it will be a lot of fun. And for everyone, again, that's Wednesday, October 19th from 6 to 9 p.m. And I'm sure there'll be links included in the description of this. But thank you so much for joining us, and you have a great day.
You too. Super, super excited. Thanks for promoting this. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.